Hey everybody, hope you guys doing alright. So I thought I'd just share with you guys a little update on the project. I know I keep on revising it, but it is what it is. So alright, here we go. With the hemp hurd, and there's two types of hurd. There's the bass fiber, and then there's the thicker hurd, I believe. So, sorry, my memory isn't the best, but I know that there's two types. So from the hurd, you can get that's where you get the solar panels, because you have to separate the fibers of the hurd, and from doing that, you are able to develop the solar panels. So you can create that type of product from the hurd, and then you can also develop clothes or fabrics for tents, sweatshirts, t-shirts, even pants and socks and underwear, all sorts of shit, hats probably even too. Excuse my French. And then tents, batteries. I'm not sure, I have to look into it, but I'm assuming since you can make solar panels out of the herds, that you could possibly make at least parts of the batteries of the hemp supercapacitor batteries, or the supercapacitor from the hemp herds too. But I need to look a little bit more into that. I just threw it in there. So anyway, moving on here, we got the hemp seeds, and these would be used for the MREs that I shared with you guys a while back. You can also make veggie burgers out of them, smoothies, butter, and I believe oil. The oil can come from a number of different parts of the plant, but I believe it can come from the seeds. And then you also got the hemp plastic for bottles, for water bottles, soda bottles, all types of juice bottles. I mean, I really think we need to make toxic plastic illegal. Like, that should be illegal to produce and perpetuate, because it's killing off so many things. It's bad for the human body. It's just not good for anything, really, other than these evil companies. So anyway, yeah, we can use hemp plastic to replace these bottles, and the hemp plastic is non-toxic, and it's also completely biodegradable. And then also for packaging, packaging the MREs, any other types of foods, veggie burgers, and any other types of things that require packaging, we could use the hemp plastic to do so. Excuse me. All right, so we got hemp roots. The hemp roots are what's going to give you the most potent anti-cancer remedy that I've found from a single plant, or even just supplement or food or nutrition. And it's from the roots we get what causes the apoptosis, which is literally the cell death of I can't speak right now. Malignant cells, which are just bad cells. I mean, that's literally what the hemp roots do, is they go in there and they're programmed to kill only bad cells, not healthy cells. They actually hemp will help the healthy cells grow and kill off the bad cells. That's why it's so much better. It has the potential to be so much better than chemotherapy, because chemotherapy kills the good and the bad. All right, so moving on here. Hemp leaves, the hemp flower, that'll be the next one. With the hemp flower, you can get CBD tinctures, you can get alternative to, or you can also make like hemp cigarettes, which would be a great alternative to cigarettes, because they're much better for the human body, they're good for the mind, and it would be completely organic, where a lot of these cigarettes, I mean, you can get American spirits, which are, I think predominantly, if not completely organic. They're also very expensive, but you're still, consuming, tobacco, which isn't bad. There's a time and place for tobacco, but CBD literally will help relax you. It can help realign your neurons in your brain. It's just, it's good. It's just a different type of substitute to tobacco, which I think is better. And then you can also get edibles. You can make some hemp flower. You can make edibles out of the hemp flower, and then you could just eat on those if you wanted to, and get yourself a nice little, like I said, I always compare it to kind of like a tea feeling, except it's even better than tea, to be honest with you. It lasts longer, and it's like a clarity, like it's like putting a perspective of clarity over you, and also a little bit of energy, and a little bit of like the smallest type of buzz. I mean, it's lower than 1% THC. I think it has to be less than 0.3% THC. Otherwise, it's considered marijuana. So, I mean, in most marijuanas you buy at dispensaries here in Oregon, like, it's going to be in the 15, 17, 20%. So it just gives you a comparison. I mean, most weed that we smoke that gets you stoned is in the 20, like average of 15, 17% tile, whereas the hemp is literally less than 1%, less than even 0.5%. So it's just a huge contrast in potency. So, all right, moving on here. Goals. So, I talked about a little bit ago how if we just had 100 mile by 100 mile area with just solar panels in the desert, that would be enough energy. That would accumulate enough energy to power the whole United States. But that's a little much. So I'm thinking, why not start with something like 10 miles by 10 miles? And I used to live in Phoenix, Arizona, so I know there's a lot of desert land out there that's also very cheap. So you could grow the hemp up in places like, Southern Oregon and other areas that grow hemp really well. And you could transport, make the solar panels up there, or, wherever, or transport the hemp to the processing facility. And then from the processing facility, you could, take the hemp solar panels that are then made and ready to be used, and take them to Phoenix, Arizona, or outside of Phoenix, Arizona, or somewhere in the desert in Arizona, and set up solar panel, a giant area of just solar panels, like a huge area just dedicated to solar panels. You could also have windmills. And then I also want to get into using the momentum from the rivers and also the oceans. And in doing so, you can also help filter out the rivers and the oceans to clean them and also give us clean energy. So yeah, and I'm hoping, I'm assuming, since 100 by 100 miles is enough for the whole country, to power the whole country, that 10 by 10 would be enough to power hopefully like a major city like Phoenix. Phoenix is a pretty big city. They have, I think, about the whole metropolitan population is about 5 million people, but that's still very little compared to the whole country of the United States. So, and then the other surrounding cities too. So it's a good place to start. We can see what happens. And then ideally, once we get the solar panel going, we could use the power from the solar panels and the windmills, the wind turbines, to power vertical farm growing systems. So with the vertical farm growing systems, I think it's best that we could grow the other fruits and veggies. I really want the hemp to be grown in the earth, because hemp, and ideally, we would want to buy soil that's already damaged, which should also be cheaper, because hemp literally remediates and rejuvenates damaged soil. That's why it's so imperative. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. It's from God. It's in Genesis 9:3. So it's like, it would just make sense to help out things in so many different ways. And it would also be cheaper to grow the hemp in the ground, in the damaged soil. And then you could also, if there's excess areas of that damaged soil, or even in different areas or locations, you could then, build vertical farm growing systems, which are very efficient space-wise, because they go up instead of out. So you wouldn't need as much space, therefore not as much money for the area of the land to build these vertical farm growing systems. Now, the thing is, with vertical farm growing systems, they do require a lot of electricity. So this is where you'd want to have the solar panel system operating, and the windmill system operating, and possibly even the water turbine system operating beforehand, before you went and developed the vertical farm growing system. Otherwise, you're going to be dependent on fossil fuel power plants or nuclear power plants or some other type of non-eco-friendly power source, which is going to also be expensive. So that's the idea for that. And then moving on here, so we covered the area. I want to get the nut trees going. So we need to get different trees, require different areas to grow as best they can. So we're going to probably have to have multiple locations for different trees, depending on what's best for that particular tree. And just start growing, I think it was like 9 nuts I shared, and all these nuts are very good for the human body. Just growing trees in general is going to help sequester CO2, and it's also going to produce more oxygen for us to breathe, and also provide a habitat for other animals like squirrels and birds and other little creatures that, live in trees. So, all right. And then, we're going to need to develop production/processing plants and automate, and perhaps I'd like to do automated facilities, man. I'd love to see, use AI in a good way to help us, develop a system to where we don't need manual labor in these factories working these really mundane, boring jobs. I'd rather have human beings out there like picking up garbage, or interacting with the public, or fighting against crime and anti-poaching and all this child trafficking shit. Like, that's the stuff that human beings should be doing, because it requires a certain intellect. Still, we can use technology, but it requires, a thinking pattern. It requires people going out there, observing things, taking notes, figuring out what's going on missions, and then apprehending people, doing what they need to do, helping people, listening to people. Like, these are the type of things that human beings are really good at, that we should be doing. But instead, we have so many of us are working these mundane jobs, because this is what the low vibrational frequencies want us to be doing. But this is what this whole idea is, to transmutate this low vibrational reality into a high vibrational reality. So in order to do that, we could utilize things like automated technology and AI in a good way to lessen the amount of human labor needed in these factories. So, all right. And then we would need a distribution system to, bring, like I said, we're going to be growing the hemp up here in places like Southern Oregon or other areas that grow hemp really well. And then you'd want to transport it to a processing facility, an automated plant, or a production facility, or maybe they're all in one. I don't know. And there could be different ones all over the area, all over the country. And as we grow, we're going to need to have more of these things. And then you're going to need to take, the goods from these processing plants, these automated factories, to, places like the solar panel area, and then also to like different work areas, different living areas, just different stores that are designated to sell these products. And just make sure, just develop our own supply chain. It's essentially what we're doing here, the whole 9 yards, taking out all the middlemen. We're going to do it all ourselves and be completely self-sustainable, eco-friendly, and as affordable as we can, because I'm not trying to make money here. This is about giving the people good products at good prices that's good for the earth and everything else too. So, all right, I love you guys. Hope you all have a good day, and take care. Bye.